Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. Well, now we turn attention to, politics. We've got Waziri Bulama. He's an architect, but he's also the Deputy Director General for APC Presidential Campaign Council. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thanks, Mr. Olson.
Well, now that elections are over, what has your office been doing?
Well, the Presidential Campaign Council, for now, is not active anymore.
Okay.
We've taken reports of, our performance in the elections. We are reviewing our performance overall with a view to learning lessons and submitting a report to our party and to our leadership. So at the moment, action has shifted to managing the mandate Nigerians gave us.
And, speaking about which, recently there's just some concerns, people wondering what is going on, because they've seen now we don't have the economic management team anymore. We now have an advisory council, no longer reporting to the vice president, report directly to the president. We'll have this special committee on asset recovery. It's been scrapped. It was under the vice president. And then quite a number of actions taken lately, which many suspect what's going on. A lot of things being taken off the office of the vice president.
Well, these are the early stages of the mandate, the 4-year mandate Nigerians entrusted to our party. Obviously, the cabinet has just been inaugurated, the Executive Legislative Council, and the government and our leaders are settling down to the serious act of delivering good governance. And in the course of doing that, of course, our leaders would take certain actions to adjust and modify the way things are done for better results and effective management of the country, the resources, the economy, as well as deepening democracy and gaining the trust of Nigerians. Basically, that's what's happening.
Some wonder that stripping the quote-unquote stripping the office of the vice president of some of these responsibilities is a vote of no confidence.
Absolutely not. Let me tell you this. You see, this country is in very, 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 very safe hands. The president, is a man of integrity, a retired general who has persistently fought for justice, accountability, and transparency in this country. The vice president is a professor of law and a pastor, a man of God. He's also a man of integrity. The National Assembly, our Senate president, is a PhD in remote sensing and a man with 20 years legislative experience. Down the line, all our leaders, those who are in active governance and those who are also guiding the party, like Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Baba Akonde, and all other leaders, are all men of integrity, very patriotic. They are all united. There is no reason, to suspect or even infuse any issue of division or of difference of opinion in the way governance and politics is being managed in this country. So please,
so then what is going on? So,
it's just a routine, really. That's what I'm saying. The vice president has been active. He's the one of the ideological arrowheads of this government, and we are very proud of his performance in the last 4 years. And he's doing well. And really, this little adjustments and changes do not in any way show a vote of no confidence in the vice president. We are very, very, very proud of the vice president. Let me say this.
Now, speaking about internal developments within your party,
yes,
the president recently, while some party members were with him, he spoke about institutionalizing the norms, the ideals, the ideology of your party, such that when the party, after he leaves, the party will continue to lead.
Yes.
And I also do know that the DG of the APC's Progressive Governors Forum did write a letter at that time raising some concerns about how they think that some things are not being handled right and that the fortunes of the party is dwindling under the current leadership of the chairman, Mr. Shomole. So Many then wonder, are they hitting the panic button at the moment?
No, no. You see, the APC at the moment, looking at the big picture, you know, is coming out of, has just come out of this presidential election as the most broad-based, the strongest party ever in the history of Nigerian politics since independence. This is a party which was, you know, which came into being in 2013 and presented Nigerians itself programs and projects and was voted into power in 2015. We implemented those programs Nigerians expected of us. We campaigned in 2019 by presenting issue-based substance, in the campaign. We got, you know, re-elected. You see, this party scored 25% and above in 34 states of this country. This party has shown spread. You know, even the constitution itself requires that a presidential candidate score 25% and above in 24 states. But our party scored 25% and above in 34 states, showing that the party is well spread and is well represented in all the states and communities in this country. We also, won, not only won the executive branch,
Yeah.
we also won we had comfortable lead, in the National Assembly. In both chambers of the National Assembly, we have, clear majority. We have 20, states governed by the APC. And so this party is united. This party is very strong.
So
the call by the president, therefore, for institutionalization. Do I continue? Or
Yeah, let me just read this
Yeah.
to you. This was published a month ago.
Yes.
And it was part of the letter I referenced, which was said to have been written by DG of Progressive Governance Forum. Says, as a loyal party member, I have difficulty reconciling the absence of meetings of superior organs given all the challenges the party is going through, warranting the suspension of 3 serving governors, 2 of them now senators, and 2 members of the NWC. Instead, things have really got worse, and painfully, it would appear you are in denial of this reality. It would appear that the leadership problems facing the party are getting deeper, and in the circumstances, the business of building the party will be sacrificed. So these are genuine concerns.
Well, earlier on, we also had several letters, and many indeed, that have not surfaced and come to the attention of the media, written, to give suggestions, recommendations to our leadership on how to, make the party stronger, make the party fairer, more just, enduring, sustainable, and so on. And I don't think there is cause for alarm. At the moment, you see, throughout this country, there are, of course, some contestations in some states, but all these contestations are internal. Whether it's a River State, or in Imo State, or in Zamfara State, Adamawa State, and Bauchi State, where we had some, glitches and few setbacks. But essentially,
They
all
cost you major
leaders,
elections.
the party is united, even in those states, and they are all solidly, reunited behind our leadership.
Was the party united in Zamfara?
Well, what I'm saying is this: the party has had, fractious, performances in its management of issues in Zamfara. But what I'm saying is all the key party groups and leaders, they are still part of the APC family. So to that extent, all of them also worked for the overall success of the APC. So they are part of this, big picture, this bigger family that has succeeded, you see, in winning the elections and staying strong.
Even as we speak,
Yes.
there is this fractious relationship or position that you're talking about in Edo State politics. So how is this being addressed, in all? Because ultimately, if the issues are not resolved in a way that would help the government to be united, the people suffer.
The party has inbuilt crisis management machineries.
And how is that working out in Edo State?
Well, the crisis can never You know, crises are reoccurring, themes, reoccurring issues in parties as we go. So the party would, assess the situation in every state. I mean, in fact,
Doesn't that
whether
suggest?
it's in Edo or
Doesn't
even
that
the
suggest?
latest in Rivers,
Doesn't
the
that
party will
suggest?
apply, those dispute resolution,
Yes, but
measures to resolve those issues.
doesn't that suggest that there is serious issues with internal politics? With the internal politics of APC.
No. You see, all these crises that you see, all these disputes that you are seeing are internal. Just as you have, issues, crises in families among brothers and sisters and so on. That doesn't make them not members of that family. So here in APC too, you see, we have these contestations, we have these, minor differences of opinion resulting in one way or the other. But you see, the party applies its dispute resolution mechanisms to solve them. In any case, you see, our party has sworn to uphold the rule of law. So all these things that are happening, our party leaders try as much as possible to operate within the law. And is, a party that, wants to ensure that its constitution is followed, the constitution of the country is followed, and all other laws, relating to organizational harmony are also followed. So leaders, you see, don't use their discretion. These APC leaders, whether it's president or our national chairman or our national leaders or our governors, they desist from using, you see, their discretion outrightly. So that makes actually that this, you see, these problems, are all resolvable.
All right, let me bring in Kaide. He's got some questions for you. Go ahead, Kaide.
Right. Mr. Bulama, I'd like to take you up on something that was talked about much earlier, and it was about ideology, party ideology. And I'd like you to perhaps clear the air. Now, some believe that parties in Nigeria are one and the same, and I'm sure you've heard, that argument and conversation time and again. And if you go outside the country and you hear about other parties, you'll hear this party stands for this when it comes to social rights, individual rights, military spending, rights, and what have you. So, for you, the APC, what is your ideology?
Yeah, the issue of ideology is an issue on our table for now. We are working hard to give our party a distinct ideological identity. We're worried by the fact that some people say, look, there is no difference between APC and other parties. You see, for us, those of us who are, in this party and who are leaders of this party and who are part of the, evolution of this party, the formation of this party, its performance, its constitution, its manifesto, we know that this party has attributes that make it stand out as a truly progressive party, a true progressive party that has distinct ideology, a party to which we can get or give a distinct ideological identity. This is a party that is pro-poor. This is a party that is committed to fighting poverty. This is a party that is supportive of youth and women. This is a party that promotes transparency and rule of law. This is a party that is committed to deepening democracy. This is a party that is committed to ensuring transparency, accountability, prudence in the management of resources of this country. This is a party that has empowered Nigerians and ensured that votes count. This is a party committed to institution building in this country,
If I may
independence
step
of the
in,
judiciary,
if I may step in
independence of the
briefly.
election management system, independence of all the institutions of government. So our party actually will work going forward to produce a clear ideological identity for Nigerians.
I'm just curious, when, members decamp, as it were, from other parties to your party, do they go through some form of orientation saying, what, this is what we stand for in this party, especially because some of them move to your party and in a few weeks, few months, you see them taking up major roles. So is there some form of orientation, as it were?
Yeah, you see, this party, you see, if you look at the last 1 year, for instance, we had our convention in 2018. Then after the convention, we went to undertake primaries. We also went ahead to, campaign for the general elections. So within a year, quite a lot of events have taken place. We will review, you see, all our performances and activities, in those events, and at the same time, draw lessons from that, take precepts that we will use to draw up, to carry out retreats, seminars, orientations, and then bring our, party leaders and stakeholders together, to learn lessons and to draw up, learn from the, good things about our experience and abandon those things that are harmful, and then, adopt, draw up rules to enrich our conduct going forward.
Mr. Bulama,
of
one
course,
more
clearly,
thing,
the need to
if you don't mind,
orientate,
one more thing I'd like you to
enhance,
respond to.
promote orientation,
Mr. Bulama,
education,
one more thing I'd like you to
sensitization,
respond to for a moment.
enlightenment
If you can
among
hear
our
me,
party
is this
members.
particular story making the headlines? If you can hear me, I'd like you to respond to this big story. It's on the front page of one of the dailies, and I think it was talked about earlier, but I want you to just clear the air. Now, it says, 2023, North intensifies plot to retain power. And this particular daily is citing a cabal moving against the vice president, as they're saying, there may be a target on his aid. So I'd like you to just clear the air. Is there such plans? Okay, so the question is this. I want you to respond to one of the major stories making headlines. And it says that 2023, North intensifies plot to retain power. And this daily is citing a cabal moving against the vice president and gives some other, details. So the question is there such plans underway?
Absolutely nowhere. In fact, the preoccupation of our leaders is in delivering good governance. This mandate, which has fresh New Year mandate, which has been given to the party and its leadership, is our primary concern, to ensure that lives of Nigerians are secure, to ensure that we promote prosperity and greater welfare of Nigerians, to ensure that this party performs, to the admiration of Nigerians. 2023 is too far away. It has never been in our thoughts. Right now, our preoccupation is good governance.
But architect, look at what the president said. He challenged your party to institutionalize the norms, the ideals, so that the party can survive beyond his tenure in 2023.
Yes.
This is the president speaking.
And that is actually...
Why is it not your thoughts?
Look, I'm saying this. You see, this is one of those interventions of the president in the way we manage our party.
It means all has not been well.
Which, come on, institutionalizing the party is not about 2023.
Strengthening internal democracy. He's speaking about 2023.
What he's saying is this. You see, let this party be governed by rules. Let this party develop a culture of doing things. Let this party generate, systems and processes to keep, to guide its operations. Let this party be free from interference or, one leader or, dependence on another leader
so tell us,
godfathers.
If you were free, why would somebody ask for freedom if you were already free?
No, you see what? There are many, lessons from history of other countries and other parties where, for instance, where a party, organized or formed around a very influential person, suffers after the exit, of that influential person due to one thing or the other, Or there are also cases where, for instance, a strong leader in a certain country will take measures to perpetuate himself, or his family. What President Buhari is saying is this. This party should be oriented towards a rule-driven procedural line so that this party can, be autonomous. This party can be, useful and live beyond us. This party can be independent,
okay.
Can outlive us.
Well, I have just maybe one more perspective, one more issues to address when we come back in just a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back. Well, you know, Senator Rochas Okorocha, he said this in March, he said it in April, now he's repeating it in September this year. He says the party could lose its grip on the electorate in 2023 if the national chairman is not called to order. That indicates that perhaps all is still not well, doesn't it?
Well, you see, with all due respect to, OLA, distinguished, senator and leader, I think personally I don't agree with that view. The party at the moment actually, looking at the big picture, as I said, has performed, profoundly, well. The leadership of the party is competent and capable. Let me say that I think just like himself, Oele Rochas, Comrade Oshomole is an asset, you see, to this party. For a leader who has enormous, organizational experience coming from, the background of labor, I think the party can learn a lot, from his experience as an organizer of people, as a fighter for people's rights, to help strengthen the party itself. You see, the problem, the setbacks we experience in Imo, in Rivers, in other states and so on, is they are largely, you see, because of teething, organizational problems in the party. A raft of factors, are responsible for this. But the point is, you see, we are also happy too that in spite of this infighting in some of these states, all of them remain loyal to the party and loyal to our leaders.
But speak to this impression where people think that, well, people are taking shelter in your party in order to escape the clegg light or the sledgehammer of any corruption charge or case. So they may not be fully integrated into the ideals of your party. So that's why some people think, moving forward, you just will have challenges.
No, you see, this party is not a refuge for, people who are having problems and so on. You see, this party was founded by people
who have
the founding. You see, look at the history of this party. You see, all those people who struggle against totalitarian rule, and dictatorship, came together along with President Buhari, who has all his life stood for transparency, accountability, prudence, and justice, to form this party. This party was born out of sacrifice. When the name APC was mentioned on February 6, 2013, we went ahead to dissolve our existing parties and submit, requests to INEC for registration. Waited for like 3-4 months before we were given the, the registration in July. It was a big risk, and that risk actually was born out of, courage and sacrifice. This noble founding, origins will make this party stay, and deliver good service to Nigerians, deepen democracy, enhance transparency and accountability, and take Nigeria to the next level and higher levels.
Waziri Bulama, Deputy Director, ABC Presidential Campaign Council, thank you for coming on this morning. All right, there you go. That is the show today. We thank you all for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm Chamberlain. So
I'm Ayo Makinde. Good morning.
And I'm Kayode Okikiolu. Have a beautiful day.
The views and opinions expressed by guests on this program are those of the maker and do not reflect the views, opinions, and endorsement of Channels Television.